Hello, everyone. Good evening. Again, we're here. It's Friday. It's Tuesday evening. Tuesday evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you? Hey, I see some of you guys are here already. Welcome. Good evening. How are you? Let's see who's here. Hello, hello. Good evening. I see five of you guys here. Okay. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome. How has your week been? Hi, Amber. Good evening. I see more people join. Hi, Esther. Hi, Chrislyn. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for introducing yourself and where you're from. You already know the routine. Thank you for doing that effortlessly. How are you guys doing? Please introduce yourself and where you're from. I'm excited to be here tonight. I hope you can see me clearly. I am very happy. It's a Tuesday evening. Time to make money. Time to make money, everyone. Let's see who else is here. Hi, Moron Dia. Dia, hi. Hi, Abby. Hi, Wara. Hi, Jungi. How are you? Yeah, Iamba from Texas. Wara from Maryland. Welcome. Hi, Mimi. How are you? Excited to see you, 12 of us here. Okay, I see more people joining us. Thank you for joining us this evening. You guys, I really appreciate you. I know that it's one thing to put together really valuable resources, but it's also another thing to have a group of hungry crowds, so to speak. Like you guys are hungry for knowledge and hungry for information. And so, yeah, I gotta definitely appreciate you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate myself too. Hello. So, how are you guys doing? Hi, Ikukum. Hi, Marco. Hi, Ayadeji. Hi, Fumi. Welcome. Christabel. Welcome. It's good to have everyone here. How are you guys doing? How's your week going? It's Tuesday. It's just amazing how like days fly by and how weeks go by. Before we know it, it's summer. I mean, we're getting over spring right now and it's summer and it was just winter. It just keeps rolling and the years definitely keep going. And you know what, they just say whatever you got to do, do it, because the years are going to stroll by like nothing happened. So whatever we got to do, do it, we do it. However way we can challenge ourselves to be better, we'll get it done, we'll put in the work, get it done and over with. And we'll hardly remember that we had to just get up and make that move, right? It's very convenient to be where we have been for many years. Extremely convenient to wake up, watch TV, 3 hours of TV a day or something, and that does add up eventually to a lot of hours we could have been making money. So I'm just saying, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's words of wisdom for it's not midlife crisis, it's just, you know, trying to be wiser with our resources. So I appreciate you guys for taking the time to be here. And we're gonna go right into it. Hi, you guys, still introducing yourselves. Dia from Indianapolis, welcome. Olutobi, welcome. Mercy, everyone, welcome. Good evening. I appreciate you. And so we're gonna go right into what we have going on this evening. And as you all know, or if you're new on our platform, my name is Yinka Olumorin. I'm a coach on the Acquire Real Estate platform, and done definitely a couple deals over 45 or about 50 at this point, going from wholesaling to lease options, fix and flips, all kinds of rentals, short-term, long-term rentals, multifamily, new constructions. And I always say this because this is a newbie group, just to encourage you that within 36 months, we're able to go from six figures to seven figures in our business. And that's an indication that you can also do that. I invest with my husband, Dari, who is a licensed builder, and he helps our students with a lot of things, anything construction related, very hands on with them. And I am excited to be here as always. Please continue to introduce yourselves in the comments and where you're from. Appreciate that. Appreciate that networking going on. And I love that you guys can kind of get to know and meet each other. Hi, Boston. Hi, Olufemi. Welcome, everyone. Adi Tukumbo. Welcome. Good evening. Okay. So tonight we will be discussing some amazing ways to use your credits in real estate investing. And here is why. If you have a credit score here and you have no clue what to do with it, you're leaving a lot of money to be made on the table. Why suffer in silence with a credit score? Whether your credit is great or not so great, you're actually leaving a lot of money on the table. And I can actually say that with assurance because I'm here today because I was able to leverage my credit score to build a real estate portfolio. Now, not in the traditional way where I need to have some down payments in my account and stuff like that, but in such a way that my credit was all I had and leveraged with OPM or other people's money. So here's the difference. When I worked my 9 to 5 and wanted to see what price points of homes I qualified for mortgage, so my mortgage broker was kind of able to qualify me for, I believe it was around a max of 250,000 home. And then I actually had a six-figure job. So I don't know if it had anything to do with student loans or what have you, but I couldn't qualify for more than 250K. And I don't claim to be rich at that time. I mean, six figure at that time really meant nothing because when you split off everything, it definitely falls below six figures when you take out the taxes and everything, and you have a family. Tell me, guys. I mean, if you're on 20K month yearly, it's very little. 50K yearly, some people are in that range, but the higher you go doesn't really necessarily mean that you got everything, right? Especially if you're like still in the lower range of six figures. It's still tough. Middle class bears it all. And you have no clue why someone would have a great job and still be trying to make ends meet. And that was my situation. Okay. So I didn't have extra money. And so I had to find a way. But fast forward, so after being qualified for like 250K traditionally, the same way that a regular home buyer would qualify for a mortgage. Fast forward to over a year after going the other route, which is the real estate investing route, I was at over $1 million in portfolio value. So, what happened in between? Why would I qualify for over 1 million in the real estate investing side of things, but couldn't actually qualify for that traditionally, right? So, you see, guys, that's the difference. That's the difference because the real estate investing route is really based on the assets. It is asset based lending. So if you have any reason at all to do real estate investing, so for some it's family, it's retirement, maybe you want to make more income, maybe you want to pay less taxes, whatever your reason, let your reason get you motivated to your first deal. Okay. It only begins with that one deal and the rest is history. So, real estate investing is indeed a life changing event, actually, especially because you can go from zero to hero using other people's money. So, it's a big opportunity. OPM, other people's money. Sometimes we hear of OPM and we think other people who mind. Hi there. Hi, Fatima. So we're thinking other people who mind, right? When you hear OPM, people literally don't want to bug other people. Like, you're like, I just want to be self sufficient. I want to use my own money. I don't want to look at anyone. But that's not the meaning of OPM. So OPM is not other people who mind that I use their money. No, it's OPM is other people who do not mind and are looking for opportunity to grow with you. Okay, so they don't mind. There are definitely avenues of leveraging. So just for reference, how many people here have been hustled by people who provide funding before? Let me see in the comments if, like, maybe you applied for something and they send you DMs, they send you text messages. Type that in the chat. Say I. Say I in the chat if you've like been bugged in DMs or text messages or emails. Maybe they even call you like a million times just because you applied for something, right? Let me see if anyone has that experience. Totally agree. Yes. Mm-hmm. Has anyone been through that situation? Or you guys have never applied for any kind of funding? Yeah, right? Yeah. You're gonna get a million text messages. You're gonna get calls. Exactly. Why do they do that? Yeah, Mimi said I. Mimi, I know you know by now. You get all that. Esther, yeah, right? Why would anyone do that? Why do they do that? Why do they keep bugging you? Can you type that in the comments if you have an idea why people will keep bugging you? Forget that let's say they're not scam. Because everybody thinks, oh, it's because it's scam, right? Okay, yes. Fatima said third party calls. Okay. Yes, as actually they send your information over to other people, right? But the big reason why they would hustle you is because, let's see who else is here. Okay. Yeah, it's because they make a lot of money, right? They make a lot of money. That's the reason why they would hustle you to finance it. That means you also need to learn how to present a deal where you make a lot of money, a lot more money than they do. When you come together in partnership, and it's amazing, it's a win-win situation, both for you and for them. Okay. So the whole goal here is for you to break the mindset of being an island, wanting to save money before you get to work, building your portfolio. You're still going to need other people's money. So you might as well go all the way. Yeah, profits. That's correct. So, you guys, if you have any questions as we go along, you can go ahead and type those in the comments as we proceed. Welcome again, everyone. So, let's talk about this. What is leverage? Leverage is using other people's money. And why do we leverage? And I'm not going deep into leverage because we've discussed that before. But why do we leverage? Okay. So the reason we leverage, and I'm going to use this illustration just to show what's happening here. So why do we leverage? We're going to talk about two different people. One person is risk averse. Risk averse means they don't want to take any risks. They just want to be okay. They just want to be sure that their money is safe in their account, sitting down safely, right? So that person is risk averse. They don't want to hear about anything. And I don't blame you, right? I know people lose money in stocks, but people also make money. So you got to really know what you're doing before you actually take that risk. So I agree. But yes, some people who are like extremists too, like extremely risk averse. Just leave me alone the way that I am, right? But some people are also on the other side of things where they take calculated risks. And we're going to compare these two people. Okay, so let's look at 5 years later. What happens? Okay, 5 years later, these people actually started off with the same kind of credit score. So let's assume they were both at 850 in credits. They had like the highest credit score ever, right? 850 in credit, right? So, but 5 years later, this person who's taking calculated risk, something happens, and this person who is actually risk averse, they don't want to take any risk. Something happens. Okay, so let's say this risk averse person still has their 850 credit score intact. Congratulations. I am so happy for you. You still have your 850 credit score intact. Unfortunately, this calculated risk person has a 720 credit score. So it decreased because let's say you're having a lot of hard pulls on your credits, because a lot of lenders kind of look at it. So hard pull is something that will show on your credit score. A soft pull would not show. Okay, so that's one thing. Let's see what else is happening here. So this risk averse person is broke. Unfortunately, they're broke with an 850 score. But because of the risks that this calculated risk person has taken over the last 5 years, they're at 20K monthly passive income. Okay. But they have a lower credit score. Okay. Yeah, you got a gift to get, right? And then what else happens? This guy has built no wealth, just sitting there. And that's why he looks sad, I bet, right? No wealth, just staying on one spot doing nothing. And this other person actually has built $3.5 million in equity over 5 years. Extremely conservative, actually, right? Extremely possible, right? So these are realistic numbers. So this guy is happy that, hey, I have a 720 credit score, but I have 20K monthly passive income and I have $3.5 million in equity. So you guys, I want to hear from you guys. Who said I can't hear anything? Can you guys hear me? Hi, Toro. Please make sure you can hear me, okay? All right. If you can hear me, say you can. Just so I make sure that I'm not talking to myself. Okay. All right. So, yes, okay, you can hear me fine. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So, Itoro, maybe you want to look at your system to see if something is wrong. Okay. So, you guys tell me, I want you to compare. Not because this guy has a sad face, but if you were to choose to be at either range, where would you choose? If you want to be risk averse, type risk averse into the comments. And we're going to change, if we see you are risk averse, we're going to change this face to a smiley one just for you. Or if you're on the calculated side, if you think it makes sense to be calculated, but you have a lower credit score, let me see. What do you like to see? Do you think you like the calculated idea with the lower credit score, but has all this other stuff going on? Or you want to be on the risk averse side with a high credit score, but unfortunately broken, no wealth? Okay, I see calculated. Okay, I see a couple of calculated on there. Right? So what are you going to do with an 850 credit score if it's not making you money? Are you going to eat the score? I'm kidding though, but like it's true, we got to ask ourselves. If you have a high credit score and you're not making any money, it doesn't make sense. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. And guess what? I'm pretty sure this calculated risk person, if he really wants to boost the score, he can do something. He can just go and tick off, all the inquiries or fight the inquiries or something. But definitely the score will not be due to high balances for the most part, except he's leveraging the credit card again or credit score, credit limits again, right? Which is also still a good risk. But he's keeping his credit in check. This is really how it happens in the world of real estate investing. I don't know if there's any real estate investor who's like the highest range, who's like at the highest range of credit score. I mean, there might be, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any difference because as far as lending goes, it's usually within a range. So if you're within a range, whether you're at the highest or you're at the lower range, lower end of the range, you're still going to get the same terms. So absolute nonsense. Just keeping that high thing and being broke. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. So it's just a shift of mindset for you guys that feel like, oh, I just want to save money. I just want to use debits only. I don't want to use anything credits. It's just really just seeing what the future looks like, depending on what side we choose. Okay. So leverage is partnership. Maybe you were not born with connections to be wealthy all by yourself. it definitely makes sense to allow other people get you there. You help them, they help you. It's a partnership. And that's why we accept leverage. Okay. Now let's talk about good debts and bad debts. So, a good debt is a commercial debt. A bad debt is a consumer debt. So, consumer debts will be things like you're buying designer bags and shoes, a car. Even some people think cars are assets. A car is not an asset. Okay, well, because as soon as you drive out that brand new vehicle, it depreciates on your way home. So it's not an asset. Okay, but it looks cool on you. So it's up to you, right? So it's not an asset, but you decide to buy it's a consumer debt. And then those shoes too, those designer shoes, especially the ones with the red bottoms. I'm kidding. You guys, I'm having fun tonight. But the ones with the red bottoms, whatever high end thing you have going on there, that a consumer debts, actually bad debts, like you're using your credit card to go into debt to look fancy and cool. I mean, if you were spending your cash, okay, but like you're having debts because of this is a bad idea. Okay, so those are the kind of debts that we're opposed to in life. And I think this makes people feel like generally I don't want to owe, and I get it. But like these are really what we categorize as bad debts. And then we have the good debts, which are on the commercial sides. Okay, so good debts is things you're spending on actual assets, on properties. Good debts makes you money. It's a partnership. Okay, it doesn't only make you money; it makes other people money too. Okay, that's a healthy handshake. It is healthy for for the economy. It prevents wastes. It prevents decay. Imagine where you're saving your money in the bank, and the bank decides that you're not going to write loans. They're not going to write loans. They're not going to issue out loans. They will be poor. That bank is going to fold up because the bank's responsibility is not to just keep your money in savings. Unfortunately, when you keep your money in savings with a bank, they might give you like a 2% APY or APR or something very low. But when they're reinvesting it, check out the credit cards. Um, 28% interest, right? On some of those cards, 28%. So guess what? They gave you 2% or 4%. So they're earning 24% on that, right? Right. So if you're only like saving money, you're actually losing money because inflation itself is gonna swallow up that whole entire amount, right? So that's why it's not a great idea. But imagine if the bank was like some of us just want to see money sitting. Okay, the economy is not going to grow. Okay, so the only way we grow the economy is through this kind of exchange. Okay, so you provide value, I provide value. We make the world go round. We exchange value. So you have the money, I have the deal, I have the knowledge, I have the information to get a deal from start to finish to provide housing for another family who wants affordable housing or who wants to get into a decent home. They're willing to pay for that value. I pay you back. Everybody's happy. I make my profit. Now that is a good debt. That is a commercial debt. Okay. So now we're going to talk about different avenues for leverage. And the first one is your personal credit cards, which I talked about before. So a cash only policy will would that help you when it comes to growing wealth? No, right? So now you're switching from cash only policy, debit only policy to actually, for the sake of building your credit score, getting a personal credit card. And this personal credit cards actually come in handy. So places like Chase and some other banks actually are able to provide 0% APR for up to 24 months. So imagine having a qualifying for a high balance 10,000, 20,000 from Chase or any of those other banks with 0% APR for up to 24 months, and you don't have to pay any interest on that. And you can consolidate a deal, two deals, three deals within 4 months each, right? per deal or something like that. So what kind of turnover? What are you going to be able to do with this limit, with what you have been approved for to grow wealth for yourself? Those are the kind of questions you should be asking. So one way to leverage would be through a personal credit card. Okay. The other way is a personal line of credit. So you apply for a line of credits. You don't actually start to draw interests. You only draw it as needed. So when you need that, let's say you want to go into closing, you want to pay for property, you pull that fund out, and then when you're done with the project, you put that back in there. So a personal line of credit, and that means that it's under your own personal name. Okay. So the other one is number three, personal loan. That can be wired, okay, to your account. So let's say you wanted to work on a deal and you're saying, oh, I don't have a down payment, but I have credits. I have a credit score. And you leverage your credit score, you applied for a personal loan, you did get that personal loan granted. Okay, so that amount is wired. You can use that for your down payment and you can pay back from your equity or from the sale of the property. Number four, actually, you would be surprised how much your LLC can qualify for funding, how much limits you can get on credit cards for your LLC. You would be surprised. So, in the real estate investing world, usually we're not doing real estate investing activities under our own personal names. We're doing it under an LLC, under business. So, you're running a business separately as a separate entity from you. So, your business earns money, it earns profits, it also pays you. Um, or you also get your own draws and profits from your business. Okay, so that's really how it works. We separate the liabilities. So as you qualify for business or personal credit cards, your business can also qualify for business credit cards using your business EIN, which is more like a social security number for your business, right? So your business also, as a separate entity, can qualify for funding, not just credit cards, but also lines of credit, which you also draw as needed and apply to down payments and closing costs. Okay. And the other thing is also business loans. So you can get a loan under your LLC. Sometimes you don't even need personal guarantees for this business funding, business lines of credit, business credit cards, and business loans. It really depends on the issuer who is issuing this product. Okay, sometimes you don't even need a personal guarantee, and that shows that the business itself is a separate entity. Okay, and number seven, we have home equity line of credit. So it's drawn from equity on your own personal property. So let's say you have a house, it has some equity. Rather than that equity just sitting down doing nothing, I mean, yes, you don't owe more than that, but it's just money sitting that you are not using. And usually this come with lower interest rates than if you went to try to qualify for another kind of funding on a property. So these ones would actually save you money because they have lower interest rates. But you just have them sitting down in your property, you're not using it, you're not pulling that fund to build a big portfolio. I mean, I feel like sometimes we need to act like time is against us. Like you gotta act like there's no time. Because I feel like if you act that way and if you feel like, okay, I want to retire in 3 years, I want to retire in 5 years, what can I do real quickly to make sure that I have a solid portfolio of massive or income generating, passive income generating properties, right? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So we don't need to wait till that time where we say, oh, yeah, I have a HELOC that I can use because it's urgent. Now you think because it's urgent, you can use it. So now that you don't feel that sense of urgency, so to speak, or the sense of urgency is self induced, why don't you go ahead and think about smart strategies like this where you pull out this available fund and use it to multiply your portfolio and put that money back in? Right. So a HELOC is actually another very smart way to do this or to go about this. A very good supplementary funding. Okay. And you only pay interest on it as drawn and as needed. Okay, the other thing is your 401k. You guys, a lot of people believe that your 401k is untouchable. And I don't blame you because, they say when you draw it, you pay interest and all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. Yes, I kind of get it. You don't want to be stuck in the future, but would you rather be stuck now, not building the wealth and the passive income you need for retirement? Because you better believe there may be a time when you want to have the energy for real estate investing. So let's say this in practical terms, right? If I have a fix and flip that will yield 60K in profit, let's say for instance, I definitely would be fine, taking out a 20K from a 401k to get that deal done, right? And at the end of everything, I will not only have the money returned back to the 401k, but I'll also have made my income. Okay. Right. And another thing you can actually do is convert that 401k into a self directed IRA. With a self directed IRA, you can actually just self direct that IRA to produce income in whatever way you want it to, like your real estate. So you can do is move a self directed IRA into a real estate investment, and then you can pay back into your IRA with interest too, right? If you choose, you are the one who's going to choose how much interest you're paying back into your IRA. But that's why it's self-directed, because you can choose whether it's stock market. It's not directed by a custodian. Okay. So not only has your business made money, but your IRA, your retirement account, has also made money. Okay. So one thing, you guys, that I want you to take notes of is this. There's a comma here, right? Take notes, guys. Take notes. The cost of leverage. Okay. And what I mean by the cost of leverage is this: always subtract your lending costs. Always subtract your lending costs. And that's why we always use deal analyzers, right? That's why we punch numbers in. Every single interest is accounted for. If you're using a credit card, every single interest you will be paying on that credit card is accounted for. If you're using a HELOC, a line of credits, a personal loan, everything is accounted for. And at the end, you kind of see that net sum of net income that you're making, so that before you go into that deal, you already know what the outcome should look like. You already have room for contingencies. Okay. You're already conservative in the beginning with your numbers. So we always, as smart real estate investors, account for the costs of lending. We always account for financing costs. And that's why we can definitely confidently go into these different methods to source for funding. Okay, that's why we can get creative with funding, because everything is calculated. It's a calculated risk. Okay, so the more calculated you are, the less of a risk you're taking. Okay. If you just go into it without the appropriate knowledge, without the appropriate information, without doing the appropriate things, then it's a high risk. It's the highest risk you can ever take. Okay. So now let's talk about fun stuff. Not everybody has an 850 credit score here, right? I know it's not everybody that has even up to 700, right? We need to talk about how to boost your credit score. Why should we boost our credit score? So, whatever your level right now, the higher your credit score, the better terms you have. The less you pay in interest, the more money you get to keep from your deals. If you have a better credit score, you're going to get better terms. Okay, so everyone should be thinking of how to make their credit score better. Whether you're a 640 or a 740, should be thinking of how to be better. So, what are different ways to boost your credit score? That's actually people hardly pay attention to. Okay, someone said, what if it's just a few months old? What if your PITI is just a few months old? I'm not sure. Do you mean PITI? Or you mean if you just newly bought the property and you wanted to do a HELOC and you don't have equity? Or what exactly do you mean? If you wanted to retype that question, that would be great. So we have a clear understanding of what you're asking. Okay. So what are the ways to boost your credit score that we hardly pay attention to? Okay. So the first thing is one big way, actually, obviously, one obvious way to boost your credit score is to decrease your balance. And what that means is, let's say you apply for a credit card and they said you have up to 10,000 to use on it, right? That's the total limit you have on that credit card. And let's say you had a balance of 6,000, which means you owe the card 6,000, right? So the balance is the amount you owe. Okay. So of course, decreasing the amount you owe would increase your credit score. However, there is a magic number. Okay. So the magic number is to be at less than 30% owed. Okay. If once you cross that 30% mark upwards, it's going to dramatically decrease your credit score. And you don't want that. So for every credit card you have, understand what your 30% is and try not to go beyond that. Once you cross that, your credit score is going to decrease dramatically. So the magic number is 30%. So for a $10,000 limit credit card, for instance, you don't want to go above $3,000 owed at the end of the statement. If you're owing beyond $3,000, then your first goal is to get that money down. Maybe you're not paying it off, right? But you want to get it down to lower than 30%. So be at like 29%, and then go to the next one and bring it down by another down to as low as 29%, right? So rather than paying off one card and then going and paying off another 100%, guess what? Actually, this is what credit cards do. If they see that you're a high risk client, once you pay off that card, they're going to close your account. And that's not fun, because if they close your account, then anyway, we're going to talk about why a closed account is not a great thing for credit. Okay. So the first thing is the balance. Okay. The other one is the age of credit history. So the older your credit history is, the better. The older that credit card is, if you have a credit card that you opened in 2007, you don't want to close it because you hate credit. Do not close that. Do not close that account. Okay. That's the oldest accounts on your profile. And that account alone actually makes your credit score higher. So if you had to choose anything to close down, you must close anything down. Please do not let it be that oldest account you have on your profile. Okay. And that is why when we're talking about closing accounts, the age of credit history is the reason why you don't want to close accounts, right? Because actually that's one of the reasons, right? Age of credit is one of the reasons you don't want to close a credit account. You'd rather leave it running. Okay. And that's a mistake many people make, especially people who are like newer in the game. Don't close it yet. Okay. Don't close that account. Oh yeah, Mimi. Mimi says, "Oh no, I should have heard that information earlier." Yeah, I know, right? Yes. I'm not a credit specialist, but I have a lot of information and I have personal experience. I know a lot. I actually have helped a few people build their credits. So I had to learn on the go, right? So I get it. You might have made mistakes, but this is a learning curve. So we're all in it, learning together and picking each other up. Okay, as we go. So don't close it. The other thing is you want a high credit limit, and limit means what you're approved for. Okay. So on a card, let's say you're approved for, that 10K we talked about before is what you're approved for. I didn't turn on my lights, so I'm going to do that right now. Okay. Well, I have like a side lamp, but I have anyways, hopefully you can see me better now because it's getting darker here. So the bigger your limits, let's say you qualified for 10K limits, right? But then somebody else qualified you for a 20K limits. Okay, so it's very valuable. The 20K limit is more valuable, not just because you have more money, but here's the thing. The higher your limits, the more that you can take. And this is what I mean. So let's say you're owing 5K out of the 10K limits card, right? You owe 5K. That's already 50% owed. But let's say you owe 5K out of that 20K limit card. That's just 25% owed. So you took 5K, the same amount you took, but you're owing 50K on this card as opposed to, you're owing 50% on one card as opposed to 25% on the other card. And remember, once you jump to 30%, it's crazy. Your score is going to come down remarkably, right? So that's why it's important to know your limits, right? So you want to increase your limits. Let's say you have older cards. The easiest way to increase your limit is not really by just going to keep applying for different cards here and there. No, what you want to do is actually go to the older cards and apply to increase the limits. Okay. Worst case scenario, they deny it. Best case scenario, they approve it, right? But you tried. Okay, so the limit is the amount you have access to. So if you have a bunch of cards with high limits, start to approach payoff from the card with the lowest limits. Okay. And you know why that is. So let's say a card is at low limits at 4,000, right? Compared to a 10,000 card. So you owe 2K on the 4,000 limit card, and you owe 2K on the 10,000 limit card. Definitely don't want to start paying off. If you only had 2K to pay something off, you don't want to pay off the high limit card. You want to pay off the lower limit card because it makes a higher impact on your credit score. Okay, so just always remember that 30% rule. Okay. So it means that your payoff would have a higher impact percentage-wise. So it's all about the percentage of amount owed per card. Okay. Then the other thing is your payment history. You guys, whatever you do, keep up with your payments. Okay. Because it tells lenders that you're credit worthy. If you have an 800 credit score and you're missing payments, it's not a good thing. I don't even know if that exists still. If you have an 800 score and you're missing payments, I think that's just going to really drop your score. So if anything, whatever it is, you can have a debt of $1 million and owe 100% or 90% of your total credit limits. But this one thing can save you and can still make you to be at a 700 credit score, your payment history. So if your payment history is 100%, you're going to use your credit a lot for good things. Okay. People can trust you. People will want to issue out credits to you. So whatever you do, keep your payments on track. Always pay on time or by due date. Okay. So it's high impact, extremely high impact. Okay, the next thing is derogatory comments. So the derogatory comments are like when things go to the extreme and lenders actually put comments on your credits. You want to limit that as much as possible. Look, you guys, we gotta be responsible because this money is not your money, right? Somebody trusted you and approved you for credit limits, so you owe them the responsibility or the sense of responsibility to pay back. So we don't just ignore lenders and not respond to them. And that's when they put derogatory comments there. So if you have a derogatory comments right now in your credits, what you want to do is talk to your lender, that particular lender, come to a mutual conclusion as to what they want to have you do to be able to remove that comments and what you can commit to. So when you have that amicable discussion, it would really help to improve your credit score and they can take out the derogatory comment. Okay, so negotiate to have them removed. And the other thing is collections. Okay, again, for collections, you need to pay as agreed. Okay, always pay as agreed. You don't want to have any collections in your credits, but if you do, make sure you're paying as agreed. That would really improve your credit score. And once you pay as agreed for a period of time, you want to negotiate the removal and say, hey, I've been on time, I've done this. Can we have this removed because I really need my score to look better? And you'll be surprised how much they would accept to do that for you because they've seen a good history of payment. Okay. Are you guys getting value so far? If you're getting value, type value in the comments as we go. Thank you. All right. And the other one is hard inquiries. Okay. Hard inquiries. Okay. I see questions here as well. Good. Hard inquiries. Okay, guys. What happens with hard inquiries is when lenders look at your um, credit score because they're trying to qualify you for a mortgage, they're trying to qualify you for a credit products, right? Thank you so much, everyone that said they're getting value from this. I see all the comments saying value, right? So this lenders actually look at your credit score and tell you approved or denied. So whether you're doing credit card, whether you're applying for lines of credit, whatever it is you're applying for, they look and they tell you you're either approved or you're denied that credit. Once they do that, your credit score is going to drop because you have a hard inquiry. And hard inquiries usually can drop your credit score by between 3 to 5 points per hard inquiry. Okay, so you want to be careful with that. If you're applying for a mortgage, what mortgage brokers will tell you is to do everything at once within the same time period. But you're still going to have those hard inquiries and they will drop your points over time. So be very careful when you have your lenders looking. If for any reason right now your name is out there, you've applied for a credit product and people keep blasting your phone, they won't let you go, they keep checking your credit. What I would say right now is to go ahead and freeze those scores. Go and freeze your scores on TransUnion, freeze your scores on Equifax, freeze your scores on Experian. If anyone got what I said, please type it in the chats for everyone to see. Freeze your scores on TransUnion, freeze it on Equifax, freeze it on Experian. So just Google TransUnion freeze, Equifax freeze, Experian freeze, so that nobody else gives you a hard inquiry. Okay. And one good thing about one of the lenders we use in our coaching group is that they only do soft pulls. So they do soft inquiries. So even when you're checking your credit score to see where you are, it would not reflect on your credit as an inquiry. So when you're dealing with lenders, see who would be willing to do a soft pull as opposed to a hard pull and then tell you, oh, you're not even qualified. That will hurt after, your score drops because they're checking and then you don't even qualify. It really hurts. Okay, so that is one thing with hard inquiries. It drops it by points. And also, it has a compound effect. So let's say you have like 10 hard inquiries, for instance, 11 or 5 to 7. Like some lenders can actually deny, not lenders in real estate investing, but with like credit products and things like that, they can deny because you have too many inquiries. So at some point, the inquiries become too much and they also drop your score. They're not exactly high impact on the score because it's just maybe 3 to 5 points per inquiry. However, it does have a compound effect, and which can lead to denial of an application because you have too many inquiries because they feel like you're looking at too many places. Now it's like you're a high risk client because you just want credit by all means, and that shows a sign of desperation and lack of comfort. So it's like a red flag for them. So very important for you to know that. Okay. Okay. And then the next thing is you want to consistently monitor. If you have a poor credit score, don't just ignore monitoring because you feel depressed when you look at your credit score. Don't say, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know it. I don't want to do nothing because each time I look, I feel sad. No, you got to look at it at least once a month. You want to see what you can implement from everything we've discussed, right? You want to see what you can implement to have a better score the next month. Okay, so by just implementing this, I actually had a mentee go from 600 and something to over 700 in their credit. So this is serious stuff. Implement gradually. Implement gradually, one at a time, every single month, do something different. So everybody can implement one thing every month to make their credit score better. Okay, so I'm going to look at the comments and see what questions we have over there. If you got to, how do you freeze your scores? I said Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. Did anyone get that at all? Otherwise, I would type that into chats as well. Experian freeze. Okay, Equifax freeze. TransUnion. So you're going to Google those items, okay? TransUnion freeze. So Google each of these items and you'll be able to freeze it. Okay. What if your PITI is just a few months old? I didn't get it. PPTY, yes, HELOC. Yeah, so if you don't have equity, then you won't be able to pull any HELOC. There's like a limit to what they can um, but check with your lenders. Check. You might not be where you think you are. Your property value might be higher than you think it is, or it might not be where you think it is. So definitely check with the lender that issued your mortgage and see if they can do a HELOC for you. Okay. What if your credit card was closed by the lender? Yes, unfortunately, yeah, it's gonna be impacts your. So when they close your credit score or your credit card, it reduces the total limit you have in your pool because the total limit in your pool of approved credit cards also matters. So imagine a 10K card, you paid it off and it was closed. Bummer, because maybe you had a 90K total limit, now it's 80K, or maybe you had only 30K, now it's 20K total limits. Now, if you owed anything on those individual cards, it's going to be a higher percentage versus when you have this big pool you can pull a lot of money from or more money from. So it's a bummer. Unfortunately, it's going to affect your credit if they closed it. Unfortunately. Don't fall in love with timeshares company. That will hurt you a lot. Good to know. Okay. Okay. I don't think I see any questions except I'm missing something. And in the light of that, we're going to go ahead and issue out our resources for the night. Definitely type summary in the comments if you want to have all the ways to improve your score and also a breakdown of how to leverage credit. And of course, the other category is not for everyone, as I always say. If you want to see what our inner circle looks like, maybe you're wondering if your credit is good enough to start something, or you're worried about funding and need clarification, definitely type inner circle in the chats. We actually only have 5 spots we're offering this time. So type inner circle in the comments if you want that help. Outside of that, actually, it was nice being here tonight and hope you all got value in different ways. They're talking about different ways that we build and leverage on credit score. Have a great night, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye.